All right, you know what time it is. Neil Ratner Rock Doc here with a story. So, Gary Rossington, the only remaining original member of the band Lynyrd Skynyrd, celebrates his 71st birthday today. So, I thought I would tell you a few things about Gary Rossington and the band Lynyrd Skynyrd that you might not know. And as usual, a little background first. All right. As a child, Gary's dream was to play baseball for the New York Yankees, and he was considered a good ball player. But upon hearing the Rolling Stones in his early teens, Rossington became interested in music and gave up on his baseball aspirations, although it was Gary's love of baseball that indirectly led to the formation of Lynyrd Skynyrd. Now, Gary, Ronnie Van Zant, and Bob Burns became acquainted during the summer of 1964 while playing on rival Jacksonville, Florida baseball teams. And the trio decided to jam together one afternoon after Burns was injured by a ball hit by Van Zant. Now, they set up their equipment in the carport of Burns' parents' house and began with the Rolling Stones' then current hit, Time Is on My Side, which was good enough that the three immediately decided to form a band. Now, Gary grew up in a single-parent home, and Van Zant, who was 3 years older, became somewhat of a father figure to him, teaching him and his bandmates how to drive a car, as well as introducing them to all the stuff you learn when you're 14, 15, and 16. All right, now in 1972, the band, then comprising Van Zant, Collins, Rossington, Burns, Wilkerson, and Powell, was discovered by musician, songwriter, and producer Al Kooper of Blood, Sweat, and Tears. How many of you knew that, right? Who signed them to his Sounds of South label and produced their first album, which contained their hit single Freebird. And the album sold over 1 million copies. Now, after releasing 5 studio albums and 1 live album, the band's career was abruptly halted on October 20th, 1977, when their chartered airplane crashed. Now, Rossington was one of 20 passengers who survived, and Gary recalls hearing what sounded like hundreds of baseball bats hitting the plane's fuselage as it began striking trees, and the sound got louder and louder until Rossington was knocked unconscious. Now, when he woke up, he was laying in a swamp and he saw helicopters overhead with searchlights. He thought it was like Vietnam. Not that he had been in Vietnam, but he had seen a lot of footage of the helicopters looking for soldiers in the swamps, and that's what it seemed like. He was taken to the hospital. Of course, Ronnie Van Zant, Cassie and Stephen Gaines, a number of people died, as we know, in that crash. Now, Rossington actually fully recovered from his injuries, and in 1980, he and Alan Collins formed the Rossington Collins Band, which lasted for 2 albums. And then Lynyrd Skynyrd reunited for a full-scale tour in 87, which then led to them, permanently reuniting with 5 major members of the pre-crash band, including crash survivors Gary Rossington, Billy Powell, Leon Wilkerson, and Artemis Pyle, along with guitarist Ed King, who had left the band before the crash, and Ronnie Van Zant's younger brother, Johnny, who took over as the new lead singer and primary songwriter. Now, believe it or not, Gary continues to tour with the band, although he's had heart problems on and off. I'm not sure. I think he had an angioplasty maybe in the summer. I'm not sure if he's back with the band or not back with the band. You'll have to check on their website. What else can I tell you? Lynyrd Skynyrd was inducted into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2006, and to date, the band has sold more than 28 million records in the U.S. All right. Happy 71st birthday, Gary Rossington. Okay, that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll have more stories as the week goes on. And as I always tell you, always remember to keep on rocking. All right. Bye for now. See you somewhere real soon.